Not too long ago, I made a video talking about my worst commission experience, and in it, I shared a couple mistakes I made when first starting taking commissions. And since my goal is to make sure your art journey goes as smoothly as possible, here's a foolproof guide to make sure you don't make the same mistakes I did when taking on your first commissions. Not only will I show you the ropes when it comes to commissions, but I'll also share some other ways artists can make income. I feel like the thing I should address first is also the thing that I get asked about the most, and is probably the biggest concern for beginner artists, and that is size and style matters. Kinda. When you're an amateur, one of the biggest concerns that can ultimately turn you away is whether or not you're good enough. And if that's you, I have some good and also bad news, so which one do you want first? Good news is that you can start taking on commissions at any point in your art journey. You don't have to be a professional. On top of that, you don't have to have a certain style or follower count to do so either. And the bad news being that if you are at a lower skill level or have a small following, you're not likely to get as many commission offers. But don't let that stop you. I know that I may have called it bad news, but I only did that for the dramatic effect of it all. In reality, we all start from somewhere. Don't let the amount of requests you get stop you. When I first started taking on commission requests, I would be lucky to get an offer a month. Now I get around at least one a day, so just keep on trucking, and your skills and audience will soon follow your lead. Now that I've addressed that and got it out of the way, we can talk about the prep work. First and foremost, you should be professional. This is a business after all, and so you should treat it as such. Consider making a business email just for commission. Don't make the same mistake I did by using the email that you made in middle school, such as copiumaddict42069@gmail or xxlowlyloverxx@yahoo. Rule of thumbs is I would make my email some rendition of my name or my social media handle. It'll save you that embarrassing moment when you give your clients your email, and they're also going to be more likely to take you seriously. Another thing is that you should be using proper grammar when you're talking to potential clients. You don't have to be a grammar wizard or anything, but be sure to use punctuation and check for typos. I'm even guilty for not doing this at times, especially with my regulars. So if you're not the best at grammar, I would suggest touching up on it briefly before taking on commissions. Now it's time for us to lay out all of the terms and conditions. What are you comfortable drawing, and what are you not? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Make a list of all of the terms and conditions. Mine, for example, are I only take payments through PayPal. There is a minimum 50% deposit before I will start your commission. If I do not finish your commission within 4 weeks, you will be refunded completely. And I also will draw gore in NSFW, but not Mecha. I also want to make it clear that if you do decide to offer NSFW drawings, only do so under the pretenses that 1, you are over 18, and 2, your client is also over 18. Neglecting those pretenses can not only give you a bad reputation, but also open up an opportunity to get you into some big trouble down the line, so be careful. So sit down with a pen and paper and just write down everything that you want to happen within your commissions. If you're still unsure of what you would want to include, just research some artists that you like and see what they do and don't do. Another important pretense is that you should be setting aside some time. If you don't have time to set aside to do commissions, I don't recommend even taking them up in the first place, because people are turned off by super long wait times. So let's say out of all the steakhouse franchises, Texas Roadhouse is your favorite. But you go there and their wait time is over an hour. Right next door though, however, there is a Logan's and you are seated instantly there. You're probably going to choose Logan's, aren't you? Personally, I wouldn't choose any of them. I would go eat sushi somewhere, but that's just me. We're just talking in hypotheticals here. Anyways, try to get your commissions finished and to the client as quickly as possible. I would say 1 to 4 weeks is reasonable. Now we're ready to start talking money, which is my personal favorite language. Anyways, I think one of the hardest things when it comes to starting commissions is appropriately pricing your art. Even I am guilty of this, but people tend to critically underprice their art. My current guideline is that I charge around $10 to $20 an hour. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, but Haley, your prices are flat rates. Yes, and so I'll show you how I calculated them. For me, it takes about 4 hours to complete a fully rendered full body piece. And those cost $80. 80 divided by 4 is $20. And obviously, those 4 hours do not include all of the time I spend talking with the client, laying down exactly what needs to be in this drawing. So the actual rate per hour is closer to 10 to 15. But I would not charge anything less than $10 an hour. So average up how long it takes you to complete a drawing and then multiply that by your desired wage. Also, here are examples of some other artist prices that I found online to give you more insight on how to properly price your art. I should note that some artists also offer sketches, line art, and flat-colored illustrations that are separately priced from fully rendered illustrations. Personally, I don't do this because, okay, so, you know the quote-unquote ugly stage of the drawing process? Yeah, I don't really like my art until the end when it all comes together, so I just don't sell anything other than fully rendered drawings. It's a personal preference, so just do whatever you like. So we've figured out how much money your commissions are worth, but now we need to figure out how you get said money. The most common form of payment is PayPal, but you can also use Venmo, Cash App, or whatever you prefer. Another popular way of taking on commissions is through KOFI. You make listings of your commissions, and then people can go there and commission you through the website itself rather than in your DMs. It ensures that you get your payment and that the client also receives their drawing. Also look into using Fiverr. I've personally never used it to sell my commissions, but I have commissioned a few artists on there in the past. As far as I saw, it was honestly a really good site. It's similar to KOFI, except I think that it's easier for you to get commissions on there at a smaller size than it is on KOFI. So now the time comes where not only have you done all the pre-work that you need to do before you start taking on commissions, but you've finally snagged your first client. What now? First and foremost, you need to talk to them, gather any and all information you need. Discuss characters, poses, background, color palettes, canvas size. Are they planning on printing this? Any potential information that you need, talk to them about it. Send updates and make sure you are being transparent. Personally, I send an update after each phase of my drawing process. That being rough sketch, final sketch, line art, and flat colors. And then after that, gradient, cell shading, and then the rendering stages. During each update, I'll ask if they want any changes to be made, or if not, I'm ready to start the next stage. During these updates, I recommend that you watermark your art. This will keep people from ghosting you before you receive your final payment. And then when you finish the commission and receive the final payment, make sure that you're sending all of the finished illustrations as high-quality files via email. At this point, you can also offer additional services, such as time-lapse videos of their commissions being made. Always ask your client what type of file they prefer, but if they're not sure, I recommend sending PSDs, PNGs, or TIFF files. Unless the client requests it, I would stay away from JPEGs and PNGs. Now let's talk about availability, aka opened and closed commissions. As I mentioned earlier, you should be setting aside some time to complete all of your commissions. But let's be honest, in the real world, sometimes you have some days or some weeks that are busier than others. So if you find yourself overwhelmed or burnt out or just too busy, I would recommend closing your commissions. And you can simply open them back up when you feel ready to take them on again. There's one last thing that I would like to touch on, and that's the fact that taking on commissions might not always be puppies and rainbows. You're gonna get some dry spells where you don't get any commissions for maybe months. You're also probably gonna get some Karens and choosing beggars who underappreciate and undermine your art. I don't know a single artist who doesn't have a terrible commission experience. That being said, it's just something that you have to deal with so that you can get through and have the puppies and rainbows. After all, in order to have rainbows in the first place, there has to be at least a shower. I think I covered everything as far as it comes to taking on commissions, and so now I'd like to share some other ways that you can make money as an artist. Now, I'll make an in-depth video of each of these, but for now I just want to give them as options that do exist. One of the most obvious ones is that you can monetize your social media. If you're big enough that you're getting regular commission requests, you're probably big enough to monetize your platforms. As of now, I have my Instagram monetized with bonuses. I plan on making a video really soon on how to monetize your social media as an artist because it's actually not that hard. I feel like a lot of people, especially the people that I watched on how to grow your channels, are really vague. And that's mostly because they want you to buy their courses on how to grow it. So they give you really vague and obvious info, and then you're still left not knowing what to do, so you go buy their course. And I'm not about that. I want to give you all this information for free because if I was in your shoes, which at one time I was, I would want this information. So keep a lookout for a video like that in the next couple of weeks. But for now, just know that it is an option as an income source for artists. Next on the list is brand deals and sponsorships, and if you're big enough to monetize your platforms, you're definitely big enough to secure brand deals. I've actually gotten a couple offers, but I've turned them down because there's so many scams nowadays that are quote-unquote sponsors and brand deals. I didn't know that these were legitimate people, so don't make that mistake. Usually if they use your name in the offer, then they're probably legit. So don't be like me. You can either wait on them to contact you, or you can make an account on one of those influencer marketplace and reach out to them. In terms of making income as an artist, Patreon is your best friend. It is awesome. It doesn't matter how big or how small you are, you can start a Patreon and it's for free. If you're offering some good and exclusive content, people will want to check it out regardless of your follower count. For example, I post my YouTube videos on there days before I post them onto YouTube. I also show behind the scenes of my drawings as well as my sketches. I also have more stuff to offer, but that's the bread and butter of my Patreon content. Go check it out if you're interested. Not even to become a patron, but just to see what I offer as a way to get an idea of what you can offer as an artist as well. As I mentioned before, KOFI is a marketplace where you can list your commission, but you can also receive donations. You can link it up to your streams if you stream your art, and voila! You've monetized your streams without being monetized as a channel. It's a really nifty and helpful site, and I love it almost as much as I love Patreon. If you want to make money in the realm of selling prints, stickers, or merch, then you can open a shop. Right now, I have a Gumroad shop, and it's free and also easy to use, but I just personally don't like the interface. In terms of opening a shop, you can really use any e-commerce platform such as Shopify, but keep in mind that some places like that you do have to pay a monthly fee. You can also use marketplaces such as Etsy, and they're good for beginners but also highly competitive. And finally, there's print-on-demand spaces like Redbubble, but like Etsy, they're easy to use but super competitive. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe you found some helpful tips in this. So please tell me if you did in the comments. And if they weren't helpful, also tell me. I really love hearing from you guys. But while you're on your way down to the comments section, be sure to stop and hit the subscribe button. I try to post a new video every Friday. As always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you next week. And before I go, I want to give a special shout out to my patron, Rattle2nd.